make a close conversation with all of you. This is the only panel of the day, and we had the idea to have this casual discussion because there is a lot to talk about people over machine, people over technology, and okay, yeah, okay, great. All right, so let's start. First of all, on behalf of Agile Middle East team, I do appreciate that you took the time to spend the entire day with us. Nowadays it's challenging to separate the entire day, but the idea was really to bring Agile practitioners, experts, and enthusiasts together to see what's going on from Agile perspective and discuss and hopefully leave this day inspired with few new insights that you can get. Today's panel, I'm super happy to moderate. We've got great experts here with us. And the idea is really to bring the people side of Agile to the table. That's why this panel is called Cultural Shifts from Silos to Synergy. So how can we somehow use Agile in this rapidly changing world to bring the human centricity part of Agile to discussion? How can we utilize Agile perhaps as a mindset, a framework, to start bringing people together in organizations and move away from the siloed approach to a more cohesive way of working together? So this is the idea of this panel today. We've got so much to speak. Again, that's why we decided to make a panel, because we have here people from different industries, different organizations, different background, because we really want to understand how this synergy happens in different industries. So my name is Mariana. I've been in the Agile field for 8 years. In fact, I used to present myself as an Agile, a business person who was introduced to Agile in the past and tried to utilize Agile mindset and framework on my way of working and living and leading. I have the privilege of having my colleagues here. I'm part of Agile Middle East team, and I'm super excited to have you. Thank you so much, Sudha, Rebecca, and Abhishek. So let me quickly introduce my colleagues. Sudha is an expert in Agile. She has been working for Mashreq Bank, which is super interesting because we have the industry background, the landscape here in the discussion, the banking industry. She has been working in the field for 18 years in the industry, and with Agile for over 12 years. So she will share with us some insights and cases about her experience on this topic. Thank you so much, Sudha. We also have Rebecca. Rebecca is, let me take here my, yeah. So Rebecca has over 20 years of experience in Agile. She's not from the region, so feel free to introduce yourself as well, Rebecca, later. She has her own company responsible for doing leadership transformations in company, which is super exciting. She has great clients on her portfolio, like Dubai Future Foundation, like Equifax, and Kessner. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing your insights with us. And we've got Abhishek, my partner in crime. Abhishek is also part of Agile Middle East team as a volunteer. And he's head of Agile Delivery and executive delivery director with over 20 years of experience in the field. I will leave to you guys share a little bit more about your experience. So let me start by asking a question to everyone, because I think this is very, very, very important. So the theme of this year's Agile Middle East Summit is innovating for a sustainable future. Innovating in a rapidly changing world. From your experience, team, how can Agile overall help organizations to move from silos to synergy. Let me start with Sudha. Sudha, please.
Thank you, Mariana. You said barriers, right?
Overall, how do you see that Agile can support this shift, and what are the initial barriers that you see that organizations face when it comes to moving from silos to synergy?
All right. So the barriers can be, it can be different for the company to company. Okay, but there are some common barriers we can see across in the organization. One I definitely see is the the leadership shared vision. Okay, lack of shared vision basically. So the teams and the organization having their own goals and departmental goals, etc., but they don't really see the shared vision among themselves. So that becomes one of the barrier. Okay, and we can solve it by collaborating among each other and having a shared vision, and all the individual teams, departments, the goals and objectives linked to that shared vision. Second, I see the lack of cross departmental synergy. So there's a lot of people very focused on their own departmental objectives and KPIs, etc., and they don't really look at the other like a combined goals, etc. So to solve this, we can incentivize the teams and the departments where they are rewarded for the common goals and common objectives and targets when they achieve, rather than just focusing on their own targets. Third is that lack of coaching and training. So whenever we start any agile transformation or digital transformation, etc., we that time focus on coaching and training, but later on when that goes into the rhythm, and and people keep joining, leaving, then we don't really focus not that much on the training and coaching part of it, which is very much needed. I have seen in some of the organization that we have to have that continuous going on. So that should be the solution. And also when the leadership supporting this as well, they support, but there are a lot of other people which is under the leadership and departmental heads or the chapter heads and the expertise heads in different departments. They also needs to be coached, right? So there we miss that coaching part in those things, and that becomes a barrier. So I feel these three things, if we at least take care, we remove a lot of barriers and we go towards the direction of synergy.
All right. So Rebecca, from your experience, what are the typical barriers that you face, especially I'd love to understand in terms of different regions. You worked in Europe, now you've got good experience in the region as well.
Yeah.
How this cultural aspect plays a role, and what are the barriers that you face? And most important, have you seen differences comparing both regions?
Yeah, I think, so I've been in the region for 7 years now, like that. Stick it there. And it's, what I've found, I suppose, let me give you an example of the most recent work that I'm doing. So I am training Agile leaders in a large Agile chapter for one of the biggest companies in the country at the moment. And it's an intensive 6 months of training. And a big barrier, and this is something that I've also seen in the UK and with other clients across Europe, is they're measured on performance at a departmental level. They're not measured on performance related to end-to-end product value. So what this creates is direct competitiveness between departments and between teams, which, it's the antithesis of collaborative Agile approach. And alongside that, you also get some teams that are, they have a fear of transparency because this performance is tied so directly to a delivery at all cost mentality, and yet you have an Agile chapter that is wanting to coach and support Agile best practice. These two things do this. So you've got a certain part of the business that is not being transparent with this part of the business, and they're hoarding knowledge because they're not being brought on the journey of Agile. They're not incentivized to take on board Agile ways of working. And there's fear of becoming irrelevant. There's fear of job security because they don't know why Agile's been brought in. They don't know why it's now a mandate when it's not something that they have traditionally been incentivized to work on. So where I've seen it reevaluated from an organizational point of view is when a company starts looking much more operationally at its approach to people and performance. So it generally changes when you take Agile beyond an IT or tech team and you start looking at Agile HR, and you move HR away from this traditional process-driven, admin-driven people management team, and you move it into, Agile HR is its own thing. It has its own manifesto based on the Agile manifesto. But what it boils down to is employee experience as a product. So that ends up being built around talent acquisition, but performance is measured at a product level and at a team level. So it encourages collaboration. And it's difficult to get there for a lot of companies, but I have seen it work with a company that I was working with as an FTE here, but we were a global tech consultancy. And during a global op restructure, we moved in that direction. We got a chief of people and culture. We removed HR as a traditional function, and it helped us all adopt agility much better, much more smoothly.
Yeah, so my experience is mostly with software industry. So I will share some of the examples of silos in software industry and what are the barriers mostly related to that. So if you see the example of different silos in IT, like there are individual level of silos, then we have team levels of silos, then we have department level of silo, even we have on-site, off-site silos, we have a business person, business and IT department silos. So there are lot many silos we have. Okay, and if you see the barriers, like if you see the individual level silos, then people are sometimes very fear to discuss lot many things to each other. They just focus just exact work, not beyond that. Department level silos, like people has fear of losing their control on the department. They don't want to share their thoughts, their ideas, their vision with other departments. Then we have team level silos. So everybody want their full control on their respective team. They want their projection on the organization for team level. So there are lot many barriers at team level, especially to IT respect. So if you see the solution of these silos in Agile, I would like to share or go back to the Agile manifesto, where if you see the 4 values of Agile manifesto, first is individual and interaction over processes and tools. So here interaction is the key word. Interaction, not only talking about just one level, interaction between individual, interaction between team members, interaction between teams, interaction between department, interaction between on-site, off-site. So it talks about interaction at every level, not just one level. So it will help us to break the silos. Then second, fourth, not even third Agile manifesto value is talking about customer collaboration. So here again, collaboration is the key word. So when you talk about collaboration, it means you collaborate with your team members, you collaborate with different departments, you collaborate with different teams, among teams, you collaborate with beyond your a spectrum. So when you collaborate, it will automatically break silos and it will inculcates synergy. So if you see solution of this problem, it's already mentioned in the Agile framework, and if we follow that rigorously, it will definitely help us to move from silos to synergy.
Okay, great. I'd like to add here something about cultural barriers that I face it by myself, and I want to perhaps just extend a little bit this topic because I'm truly passionate about it. When I've worked for IBM for 15 years. My Agile career started in IBM. And then when I moved to TikTok, Agile was never my core role. I'm from learning and development department, but I tried, as I mentioned, to bring the Agile mindset and framework. And what I noticed working for TikTok, for example, which is a young, new company being shaped as we speak, was the cultural aspect for me was the most challenging one in terms of Agile adoption. Because although, yes, TikTok is super agile in the sense of very quickly became a global company and they learn and they motivated the failure to learn and learn fast and move on quickly. But the culture, the internal aspect, since TikTok was created as very fast, they brought employees from across the globe, from different backgrounds, with different journeys and maturity level in terms of career as well. And the culture was being built while we were trying to adopt some Agile framework. So the core of the culture was not there yet. So I'm wondering if from your experience, you've faced the same challenge in terms of barriers from cultural perspective compared to small companies or bigger companies, especially in your case, Rebecca, that you are a consultant, or even within your organizations, recent formed teams and more mature teams. Have you anything to add in this perspective in terms of maturity level of the team and how to make sure that there is a basic culture to start bringing people together? Anyone want to add on that?
See, if you have a company's core values intact and set, properly in the company, then not so much a barrier as such for the geography or the different cultural people working in. And we have seen in the Middle East that there are various kinds of people from different ethnicity, different geographies. Everybody is working very, very cohesively, right? So we don't feel that kind of a barrier here, at least. And even if as a like lot of center of excellence like Mashriq has in different countries, even there, if we take care of empathetic part of it, time zone part of it, because you're in different time zones as well, and the combined like I said, if they are working towards common company goals, right? So this eradicates, we solve those problems, and it doesn't arise as much. And then definitely the tools, right, the Zoom and the Teams and everything make it easier for people to collaborate with each other. And so these things, at least not in our company, we feel so much.
When recently I started implementing in Scrum in one of my team, because previously organization was not followed any Agile methodology. Waterfall, I cannot say earlier they followed any sort of methodology, just in the Excel sheet all the work are there and they just try to finish as soon as possible all the work. When I join and I start implementing good practices of Agile, then initially there is a lot of they don't feel very good. They thought it will not give required result, or might be a team will deviate from their main core result. But they don't want to attend meeting, they don't want to KPIs are still old, and they want to measure success with old KPIs. Especially, we have multiple sub teams in the department, so those team members are like fear of losing control. Like they thought once they share all the information, all the things with everyone, then it will start problem to their job eventually. So these kind of barriers I feel initial stage, but once they like after couple of sprints, they see the real differences. They just see the result. They see eventually, like, we are providing demo at the end of the sprint. We are doing a good thing of retrospective and inculcating those things. So those barrier eventually removed.
Okay, great. Moving on a little bit, how, and this is for you, Rebecca, because you have a huge experience with leadership transformation, right? From the leadership development perspective, right? How can leadership actively drive the cultural shift? And what is the real role of a leader in terms of moving from silos to synergy? I know that this morning we discussed about flat organizations, and so what is your view and what is your experience on that?
Yeah. So it speaks to the previous question as well. That's why I didn't answer it then. But so a number of years ago, before I started my own entity, I was hired by a Danish company that was a tech consultancy that had offices across Europe, and they'd opened an office here. They had won Kerzner International, which is Atlantis the Palm, one and only, so major e-commerce websites, and they were trying to run it from Copenhagen and failing miserably. The client was about to fire us. We were 2 months late even delivering the first new website. So I'd been brought in as executive delivery director, but first point was fix this nightmare before this big client leaves us. But we were running that office in Dubai. We had Kareem, we had other clients in the region that weren't on fire at the time. But we were part of a umbrella company which was run from Tokyo. So I was based here for a Danish European company owned by a Japanese company. The first thing I had to do was essentially tear up the way the European team was doing delivery and start from scratch, because it hadn't been working, because they're used to egalitarian ways of working. They're used to time and materials clients who understand Agile. We didn't have that here. And I very much frustrated the CTO, who took an instant dislike to me because I was going against his way of working. But it wasn't working. Everything was on fire. So I knew I had to develop that. Now, he was an individual that would come to the office to visit very rarely and would sit at the back of the office speaking Danish to his other colleagues and not interact with anybody. Not great leadership, not great for culture, and really didn't understand the cultural difference of working with clients here. In the second year of me working for the company, we went through a global operational restructure where we became one brand, one company, and started to streamline commercial and delivery governance and various other things. Hiroki, our founder, didn't own an apartment or a house. He lived out of a suitcase and hotels, and he went to every office of every company in the country, in the world, and he would talk to us all the time. He would work with us to co-create what this new approach would be. And it wasn't just me and the other exec, it wasn't just the senior leadership team, it was anybody in the office. He hired a new group chief operating officer who was Welsh. He hired a group people and culture officer who was an American lady who spoke fluent Japanese, who lived in England. Again, they would visit us all the time. And they knew that we had expertise of working in MENA and APAC that a lot of the company didn't, because The Tokyo team had been quite isolated. There were disparate teams across Vietnam, China, Philippines, Bangladesh that we'd already started working with because we couldn't work with Copenhagen because they just shut their doors to us. So we built a team in the Bangladesh team and we hired people there. So they listened with intent to what had happened and our experience and our thoughts on what needed to happen. They worked with us to co-create this approach. And, you know, they didn't pay lip service to an agile transformation. It wasn't a project that had an end date. It was part of the DNA of the organisation. They were visible and they were role modelling what needed to happen. And it worked, you know, and we transformed very quickly a lot of things in a short space of time because of the way that they operated.
Just to go deeper a little bit, because I love your example. Since you are also in the field of training leaders, right? How do you make sure that the leaders, because people have different maturity level, right? They have different seniority. A few people have just became leader, or you most probably have faced leaders with 10 years of experience. How Agile helped you to quickly, I understand it was not a that length process, make sure that the other aspects of the leadership skills were integrated with the Agile mindset? Because I assume that on top of the challenges that you also had leadership skills challenge, as you mentioned, right? Different people with different culture. So what was the role of Agile? Did it speed up the process in terms of making sure that all leaders had at least the minimum leadership skills for you to achieve?
Yeah, I think I did, to understand, I did a gap analysis basically to understand where we were and where we needed to be. And what I did was look at significant aspects of the business from a commercial resourcing and delivery point of view and a hiring point of view. And I spoke individually with the CTOs of the different organisations. And then we had a large-scale retrospective. I fed back the information to them, and then I widened that retrospective to anybody at any level within the company to join. And we set out what needed to change, and the leaders would action that. Now, as we were starting on this journey, I was number 10 in the office here, and we grew rapidly, our people. And it was just myself, the head of new business growth, who became the MD, and the head of tech. And it was 2020, and we were hiring, but we had, you know, we had a hospitality client, a hotel client who, you know, they were in fear for their jobs. They weren't necessarily getting paid. You know, we had a lot of emotional turmoil with the people that we worked with, whose families weren't based here. So I said, we need to work on ourselves. So we underwent 2 days of emotional intelligence training. We did a lot of work on ourselves. We did Clifton strengths assessments to make us more capable to be able to support them, and knowing so much change was coming. And that's what we could do at least to affect that here.
Just to add, Rebecca, leadership buy-in is very essential, because whenever you implement, you do some process improvement or you implement any new thing in the organization, like half of the people are skeptical about the result, whether we will get that result or not, or half of the people are they are just waiting to fail you. So if you already consider all these things with leadership level, if you discuss it well in advance, and if you say it will take some time to get the result, and it's like we also need to understand how to implement, how to interpret success, what are the different KPIs which we need to match, how we will consider this as a success. So those things we need to address in advance before implementing any new process improvement. So that will be
The
very
leadership
good.
level, they
Yeah.
were aligned on the
Aligned,
baselines,
yes. Mm.
including the mission and vision that
Yeah.
you mentioned. That's great. Abhishek, and, let's take the opportunity that we are talking about leadership alignment and buy-in. I'd love to hear from you about a mistake or a failure or a case, a real case that you faced in your life that help you to see things differently and improve.
Yeah, sure. So I would like to share some of my previous experience. Like prior to this assignment, I was associated with some company, and they hired me for Agile implementation for UK based Santander Bank. So when I joined, so their expectation is to they assigned us some couple of teams, and their expectation to implement Scrum as soon as possible and start delivering results. So the way like Scrum Master do, I start ceremonies and implement Jira and all those
Practices.
like things, tools and techniques. But uh, after a couple of sprint, I don't see the result which I expected. When I did retrospective, like why it is not working and what are the things I need to improve, then I realized couple of mistakes which I did that implementation. Like few things like KPIs are still old, and we are trying to match success of Agile implementation with those old KPIs, which anyway is
I
not
see.
going to work because those are not related.
Indicators.
Because when you see the result of Agile implementation, those KPIs are entirely different. So first
Yeah, that's
mistake
true.
I did at that place. Then I didn't take a buy-in of different department owners, which are the different stakeholders. So they felt if they support properly or if they contribute properly, then there might be they will lose the control on their respective teams or their respective areas. So that part was missing. Then uh, there are some more challenges, like cultural level challenges. Like few people in the team, they are not very much aligned with the Agile, and they don't want to participate in meetings on activity like all the activity which is related to Agile. They are not actively contribute or participate. So these are the problems. Like first uh, we need consensus from each and every person in the team or each and every stakeholder. Then only truly we can implement Agile. So our mindset, first we need to change our mindset, then only we can move to that direction. So these are the few these are the result of some retrospective which I did that time.
Great. I love learning from mistakes. So I will extend the questions, the question to our colleagues. Is there any case that you remember, something that you can add?
Okay, so there are two examples I can give, which is kind of failed, right? Because we are talking about why it's failing, and there could be a lot of reasons. But so there was one car manufacturing client in Germany. So we went there. I was working in Sapien that time, and we went there to implement agile transformation. And the team which engaged with us are consist of like 10, 12 people. Okay, so we visited their office, and it's back 6, 7 years back. I'm talking about. We visited their office, and the moment we entered, we realized that it is going to be difficult task, because right now you don't see those these it's kind of a structure, but you can get the feel, right, that those panels on the seats, right, you can't see the person and their laptop or computer unless until you actually reach to their seats, right? So you can't see what they're working on, and you can't see the person's face as well. So that kind of environment they were into. So that was built. And this person who wanted us to engage with the team, this is like our full department of 500 people or something, and we realized did the gap analysis again, and we realized that not people are not very happy to share information itself. They are very clinched to their roles. They don't want to change, and we have seen resistance to change, but here we are talking about the leadership all in. They wanted us to do stuff, but the people on the floor weren't there at all. So it took a lot of time, for 3-4 months. The timelines which we gave them initially, like 6 months we will be able to do it. It took us like 2 years of a program to actually make a little bit change, frankly. And lot of coaching, training, gamification, hackathons, to bring the synergy between these people, these teams, to become open to each other, talk to each other, share information. Lot of tools we introduced, like lot of things we did, but still we were able to change, a bit of it, frankly. If you see the result, the speed of result we wanted, we couldn't get the speed the way we wanted. The cost also got involved, because if you're thinking of a 6 months project and compared to the 2 years project, obviously cost also increases with time, with people. So yeah, that is one of the not so great example. The other one is like, in my recent organization as well, I've seen whenever there is a new feature we want to build, okay, we think it's a new feature, it's a big feature, let's create a team, and we just hire on the contract or something, and we build a team around it, that okay, we want to build a loan feature, for example, or payments, or the credit card feature or something like that, and we just create another team. It's a team, too much teams, frankly. That is the problem. Instead of thinking that how can we optimize the existing teams to build and enhance those features, we are just keep adding the teams and teams and teams, which is not helping at all. So if I give you real life example, for example, onboarding a customer. Okay, now onboarding a customer for a account opening, onboarding a customer for a card, right, credit card, debit card, onboarding a customer who is applying for a loan, onboarding a customer for a trade, business banking, for example. Now all of these are onboarding, right? But every onboarding has a different team, which is wrong. Now onboarding could be, there is a brand guideline for a company, there is a normal features for a onboarding journey, like for example, if there is a end-to-end 10 screens, might be 6 are common for all these 4 teams, right? And then for every new feature for debit card or for account opening, you just plug and play a little bit of it and modify those 2-3 screens, and then that's it. You might have like 2-3 more people onto an existing team, and that is taking care of the onboarding. Another one is taking care of the activation, another is like, you can benefit of that synergy, but because the all these departments have different heads, the business banking is a different head, the onboarding, account opening is a different, credit card is a different altogether head. So everybody's only looking at their piece in silo, and this synergy is not coming. So this is not a good example, and we can benefit by like looking at how can we build some products or application and things in a synergy, rather than looking at the silos, which is not optimal. And Agile can help, but people doesn't see this. They're very, very targeted to their own
And
stuff.
how can you influence to change that, Sudha?
To show them this picture, basically you can definitely show, basically one of the aspect is coaching, right? You have to bring all these leaders in a single room and show them, see, this is what all 4 journeys are. If you see the combining these, and you get benefits, because Now even we are going into the different geographies. Now we don't want to have another credit card in another geography, building another team for it, right? There is a team already exists. You get that code and plug and play there. So so you have to, so the answer is that you have to show them, talk it through, coach them around these synergies that we can benefit out of it if you combine these things together, and all of you might also still be completing your KPIs, right? So that they know what's in it for me, and what the other people are bringing to the table. So it's like win-win for all. Yeah.
And this, so that triggers to my question, another question that I have for you from our original script, which is around indicators. How do we know that we are succeeding from moving from silos to synergy? What are clear indicators that we are moving toward that direction? And I'd love just to add something more, though I'm adding a few new bites here, but I'd love to learn which indicators can show that the company has the same mission and vision from the top. Because you mentioned in the beginning of the panel that this is a successful factor. So can you share a little bit your experience?
So how do we know basically that the company is in a synergy rather than silo? Okay. So first is that you see happy customer. That is first of the indicator, right? Whatever value you want to create for your customers, right? Or services you creating, and ultimately the end user is that person is happy with your company, with your product, with your application services or not. That is first indicator. And how can we know that? There are so many surveys or tools you can use. NPS, like Net Promoter Scores, are the clients wants to promote you even when you are not asking them, right? So that is one of the indicator. Second is happy people, like inside in your organization, like employees are happy, empowered, and they want to come to the office, they want to collaborate, they're passionate, motivated people around you working happily. So that is another indicator that it is working in synergy, right? That also you can check here. There are pulse checks, there are retrospectives, there's monthly checks with your teams, you can check. And even Net Promoter Scores, NPS scores for your employees as well. And then there are happiness surveys nowadays you can have, right? So is like how many employees are giving you referrals, right? Are they happy to refer their friend to the same company or not? A lot of people working in the company, but they don't want to refer their friends because they know we are in a shitty position, we don't want to bring our friends into it, right? So these are some of the indicators which we know that is it going well or not. Third is that the thing which you add, that vision and mission. So this is important because as a developer, I used to be developer, and we reached to a level as a coach and so that time also I used to want that information, that whatever I am working on today and whatever code I'm writing and whatever doing, how is it actually impacting the revenue of the company or success of the company. That linking I need to know. Okay, now leadership's role is that you need to tell the nth person that what is it for you and what is it, how are your work is contributing towards the success of the company. Leadership does this like annually. They come, they tell the mission, vision, they make sure everything happens, and then everybody just gets busy in their day-to-day work, forgets about it, no linking whatsoever. We have no idea what billions and whatever his company is creating. If it is a big company, all the more disconnect, right? So to resolve it, more connects, more hackathons, more leadership connects where they talk about these things, and the clear connection between, like I gave example of like individual OKRs, right? Individual OKRs, then the team OKRs, then the quarterly objectives, yearly objectives, 3 years objectives and 5 years mission. I should know this linking throughout, and then this even the leadership should know that this person is not really like exactly, but what I'm working on, like how it is contributing. So if we know these things, we know that this is working fine. And yeah, I think these are some of the indicators which tells us that it is in a synergy and not we are not working in silo.
Great. So anything else you'd like to add, or I'll move on? Okay, I'll move on to the last question that we prepared for you, and then we'll open for questions from you as well, right? So we are talking about technology, emerging technology, AI. So what is the role, from your experience, that AI and the new technologies are playing and can play in organizations to help us to move from silos to synergy? And this is for all of us because...
Okay, so I can start. So we usually use a lot of tools in Agile team for improve this communication, collaboration. So there are different types of tools, like for example, for document management system, Confluence we use. So Confluence actually, or any document management tools usually help teams to remove the knowledge barrier. Like if somebody, some business have information about business, or technical people has more information about technical side. If those information is available at one place, then people from both sides can leverage those information. They can exchange those information because this is easily available and accessible. So second example of tool, like all the ALM tools, application lifecycle management tools. So it will also help us to break the silos. You can see the progress of the team, who is doing what, and it's a full transparency. Who is stuck where, who need what kind of support, what kind of help, or what is the team velocity, what is the capacity of team. So all these information is publicly available, and everyone can analyze those information and enhance way of working accordingly. Okay, then there is a lot of AI generative tools nowadays we are using, and all these tools helping us to remove silos at certain level, because nowadays information is not just sticked with some set of people or some set of role. You have access of all the knowledge, even summarized way of knowledge. Now you don't require to access 100 website or thousands document. Just go to ChatGPT and ask a specific question. It will help you to summarize all the information at one place and give you all the required information. So all these tools are actually helping to break the silos and helping us to moving towards synergy.
Okay, great. Thank
you. I don't know if you've all heard the clickbait term, Agile is dead, which seems to be every article or everything I'm reading at the moment. It's not dead. It's evolving as well it should do. And I think it's evolving because we've been stuck in a cycle of the Agile industrial complex. So this rigid dogma of Agile, this commercialization of Agile, this off-the-shelf, there you go approach. And I think the evolution of Agile, it's been called Agile 2 and whatever, but it goes back to a focus on people and adaptability. And really what it's looking at is human and leadership diversity is at the core of Agile 2 approach. And I think what sometimes we get stuck in, especially if you've got Scrum in place or, let's say, SAFe, rigidly sticking to the ceremonies. And, I'm training a lot of coaches and senior coaches. And they're looking at different ways, of course, to involve different people. But we're still focused on these ceremonies. Now, we work with quiet thinkers, we work with deep workers, we work with people who are introverted, who don't function well in a noisy open plan office, that might not speak up in a face-to-face meeting in a noisy retro. But these people are valuable individuals. We've also got people from different countries. We've got different communication styles. And what we need to really think about is how to harness the right digital software, the right visualization software, the right collaboration tools, and fueled by AI. I think that's where it allows us to be able to interact with people in different ways and be more flexible in how we approach Agile and not stick rigidly to what the frameworks say. And I think, Agile is about collaborative problem solving. We need diverse minds to do that. We need a shared purpose and we need visualization. And that's what I think harnessing the best technology does for us. I'm going into companies that don't have a Miro or don't use Figma or use Jira as a kind of dashboard reporting tool. They might have some things in place, but they're not used effectively for the squads themselves.
Okay, so yeah, the whole day we have seen like a lot of people talked about AI tools, right? So I would suggest whenever we are doing any agile transformation or digital transformation or any even in the day to day, right? There are now exponential benefits which we can get through AI. So even writing, like you just give the requirement and whole backlog, whole epics, features, user stories, everything is written by AI. So you don't need to do those repetitive tasks which you used to do. So at least those kind of work you can leave it on AI. Now analysis of those requirements and those user stories definitely you need to do. Now there were so much time we have struggled with product owners etc to write the story in a right format and write the acceptance criteria in a right format so that it can be automated through a automation tool, the QA automation tool, etc. So all of this now is taken care by the AI. You don't need to now like worry about the formats. So please use those because there's free tools, a lot of free tools, and we can use those. Second is the lot of emphasis we should give to the data analytics. Okay, so data analytics which tells us where we've been using data analytics obviously in all the organization now. I don't think anybody not using it, but more and more in terms of getting insights about the customers, so those things also we should focus on. So emerging technologies, like a lot of tools are there where why a person has dropped within the journey. If there are 5 steps, they left particularly on the second or the third steps. What are the reasons why they are only dropping on that particular section or the module or the button? All of these insights give you a lot of different insights, and just work on it and you have more analytics. Third is like Rebecca said, more and more on the human side as well we need to look at with these tools, like mental health, right? Empathetic environment. Is there trust among people who are actually they're open to call out the risk on time rather than waiting for the right time to call out the risk, and like the moment they see it, they should be feel open and empowered to talk about it in an open forum or to their leadership, etc., and they know that we won't be harmed or get like something negative out of it. So all these aspects we should look at in these, like there are numerous tools in the market right now.
I want to add one point here. Like, we usually procure tool and we implement tool, but many a time optimum uses of that tool is missing. So that is very much essential, how we can maximum utilize that tool, whatever the money we have implement, what is the ROI of how we are extracting ROI of that tool is very important.
Abhishek, I love that you mentioned that, because if the tool is being non-fully utilized, it means that it was adopted without a clear purpose, from my point of view. And this reminds me a mistake that I've got in my life with Agile. When I moved to TikTok, again, another example, I was so passionate about Agile that I want to implement Agile everywhere with every team. And then I came with a fixed, I was in the beginning of my career, so I came with a fixed framework and rituals and trying to spread the word out. And what I realized was I was misusing the tool that I had in hands at the time because I didn't have the full context. I didn't have the strategy behind. Sometimes the teams are not ready, right?
Correct.
They don't need that. They need something else. So I think this critical thinking, not only with technology and tools, but the framework of Agile is required. Let me open here to see if someone wants to add or have a question. Yes, Dr. Hind.
Hi, I'm an academic, so my university graduates lots of technically very able students. My question is, what do you think the missing soft skill that we as a university are failing to impart and sort of pass on to our students before we release them onto you?
I've got one there. Resilience and conflict resolution. Yeah, I think, we've got younger generation that are much more, I would say, empathetic and have high emotional intelligence, but resilience in the face of difficult people, but strong personalities, or how to navigate conflict on the fly, or to see that conflict is good for innovation and for problem solving. There's positive and destructive conflict, but I think I would say that's something, I think we all need to connect into that as well quite a bit, but that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, one thing I want to add here, students usually have all the academics knowledge, projects, everything, but they usually disconnect with the real scenario. Like when after completing their education, when they reach to organization, their things are entirely different. That disconnect is there. So if you try to fulfill that disconnect, that will be very beneficial for a student.
Sudha? All right. Any other question? Okay.
We heard today about this difference of culture, that it's a barrier and it's make the silo, yeah. But I think there is another point also when you have big companies that you have a merge of this company, because Sudha mentioned that sometimes when you have this company and it's the culture, you need to transfer the culture of this company, plug and play. But in this case that you have different companies, big companies, that it's merged and have different cultures. How do you break this culture? Because you have two different people that work on it with different cultures, and you have the different cultures for the companies, different cultures of the people. How you can make the only vision, and everybody can accept this and work in the same path.
Okay, frankly, I don't think I have a very good answer to it. But I feel, as per my experience, even whenever there are two different companies, obviously they have different cultures when they were working in silos, and now they are merging with each other, so they have different, they have to combine shared vision, right? So I think that exercise they have to do anyway, because there will be a lot of people who are very concerned about their roles and jobs, etc. Whenever there is any merger happens, and if there are big companies, that means big people, there might be some role reductions, and a lot of things, these kind of things will happen, right? So they have to work on a shared vision, and they have to ensure that teams and people know about what they are doing. They should not feel not cheated is not a right word, but they should not feel that some information is hidden from them, right? So the leadership role plays a big role here. Like they have to be very, very open and transparent, and they have to open dialogue with these people. What are their things and problems, and what they're thinking, what their concerns, and they should have an open dialogue, hear them out, etc., and so that all these people coming together, and they should see the one future together, right? So there's a shared vision, one future together, and there is something for me in this future. That assurance I should be given, right? So if you give that, I think this takes care of the cultural part as well, like slowly, and you reach there as a combined culture. I feel that needs to be there.
Yeah, and absolutely. I think that something that we did well in the global restructure was absolutely having shared values spread across the world. You know, we all knew what they were. However, we lost a lot of people because they didn't want to come on the journey, which to be honest, we were fine with, because you either want to be part of a global organisation or you like your little boutique company in Copenhagen or in New York or in Singapore, which is fine. You know, it wasn't, I think, because they were particularly disgruntled with how it had been handled. It was just not for them. What I did find that was problematic, and maybe it was my presumption that this would be okay, when we built our team in Bangladesh, my team in Dubai was working with them on a major Singapore client, and they'd completely broken down the relationship. Dakar couldn't work with our team couldn't work with them. The client said the Dakar team was bad. They weren't. They were good at their job. We had hired them. They had lots of experience, because they hadn't communicated effectively. How do you want to work? What kind of projects have you worked on before? Are you used to being in stand-ups with the client? Would you rather sit with us first, have a stand-up, and then are you okay presenting to a client? I ended up having to go to Dakar, I did some cross-cultural intelligence training, did exactly the same with my team. And to be honest, I kind of took my team to one side and said, why did you not set up a team charter? Why didn't you speak to them and say, you know, are you okay with this way of working? You've just told them how to work, and you've thrown them to the wolves in front of the client. So I would say you need to take equal responsibility for what's happened and stop continuing to blame another company. And I think I'd missed that really, because I've worked with distributed teams for many, many, many years. So yeah, I think you've really got to be sensitive to that.
I just would like to add something here. I love your question, Talita, because this is very typical in the market, and it's a huge challenge from my experience when there is a shared vision, clear and transparently visible to everyone, but without giving people the power to build the path to get there. So from my experience, it beyond sharing a common vision and having a clear path for different teams to go together, they need to buy that vision. And then going back to your point, Dr. Hind, especially the young generation, they buy if they are given the empowerment and the chance to collaborate and build the path together, because then they feel part of it's not something given and imposed, but they feel part of, oh, okay, there is a new vision and mission that I need to adapt. However, I'm given the opportunity to build the path. From my experience, whenever I faced both situations, whenever the second happens, the accountability, empowerment is strong, a bigger chance for the siloed approach. We fasten the path. I don't know if you have anything. Yes. Exactly. Okay, it's a given vision, but I'm allowed to build up. Then I'll stay here a little bit more. That's good. So we have a question here as well. Yes. In fact, we are running out of time, but the following session was canceled. So this gives us a little bit more time to discuss. So feel free if you have something else, but we can stay longer. So Juliana.
No need, no need.
No, you're
Yeah,
okay?
we can, actually, you should not use because
No, it's okay. We're
no, my question is, all of you, and in different type of points, you mentioned the importance of the leadership, so really to have the vision and then use this discussion to cascade into the organization. My point for you, do you have experienced cases in which it was a bottoms-up situation that the teams really brought using the Agile to break the silos? Because I don't know if this is really a premise. No, we need to have the leadership team involved, compromised with this, or no, there is a way that we can really have the team contributing and influencing the leaders to put this in place.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I'm trying to train a team to do right now, because they have been, exactly as you said, these are Agile coaches who are aligned on separate tribes, who are on separate digital products, who are all working on similar things, but are absolutely siloed. And they're a lead team, and I've said to them, why can't you operate as a lead team? Why can't you start influencing up to your leadership? Stop asking them about how they can change and tell them how you want it to change. Because there's a team of you can put all of your shared experience together, all of the very similar challenges that they're experiencing. And if you can get one voice with and evidence it as well, and take that to the group SVPs and the head of the chapter, you can help influence them, because you've got a collective voice with evidence to say, we need your support to change this. These are all the problems. We have these solutions. We can action 60% of these, but you need to change, the rest, the 40%. And that's what I'm trying to coach them to do at the moment, because, that management layer above them have their own challenges. They're dealing with a very command and control, a very traditional, leadership culture above them, which isn't going to change. Let's be realistic, it's not. But they can at least help their direct managers and sort out that senior SVP layer before we can't involve C-suite. But we can do something to make some changes. We'll see how successful that is in 6 months' time anyway.
Agile talks about self-organized team, but in real life scenario, you will see very rare self-organized team, which actually bottom to high side. It's actually going for the change. When you work with 20 teams, then you will find just one team is self-organized, or it's a very real scenario in real life. This is what my experience is.
Yeah, okay. We definitely can have, the teams building up some, the goals for themselves and the self-organize as well. So, for example, when we started with this Agile transformation, the Agile, we weren't having the Scrum Masters, okay? Only the Agile coaches. And they start with 2 teams, okay? They make them mature in the processes, etc. And then they reach to the new team, and then they leave these teams to work themselves, self-organized, everything, disciplines in place, tools in place, everything is there. They're working in a rhythm. Okay, fine. They reach a stage, like do Agile, being Agile. So a little bit there. So we just watch them, and then we shift to the other team. And then we move to the another 2, then another 2. But while you reach to the 6th one, you see these are just dropped. They can't remain in the same mix if you're not looking at them, hand holding them really regularly. So the thing is that without a vision or mission from the top leadership, actually the discipline is not there in the company or in a real life examples, right? We have seen, we try to do those things, but it doesn't work if you don't have a combined thing. So even if we try those things, we have seen that it doesn't really work that way. Now on the on another side is that you definitely need to empower those teams to take care of day to day all these the decision making about their product, about their team's goals and the department's goals as well. But there has to be a direction from the top leadership, otherwise they will feel that where are we going. Basically, if you don't know where are we going in that company, it all doesn't really work. So yeah.
Just to add to that, Juliana, from my experience, it's much more difficult starting from the bottom to the top. Almost impossible, I'd say that. But there are a few elements that I've seen that can help, at least in this movement. One is, if you speak to the language of the top, what does that CEO care? What are the key KPIs? And if you bring the agile mindset and framework toward his or her agenda, easier chance at least to be heard. And secondly, there should be some influential people in between that can accelerate the bottom-up approach. So if these two aspects are brought to discussion, at least from my experience, sponsors or someone who can quickly take this up, it can speed up. Any other question? Yes, Nodi.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much all for all of this comprehensive discussion. I have 2 points. Is it easier, like when Agile, when you build everything from scratch? For example, the same scenario that happened with Bangladesh, and the mother company, which is in Copenhagen, completely fell down. This is one of the points. Like, so what Agile here, it came as a solution, but when you build like something from scratch, like here you are teaching them. But when you're talking to the mother company, it's like you are forcing them to do it. So my point is, when Agile gonna be as mindset or concept or principle. For example, Dr. Hinch was here about when Agile gonna be educated for the student from the university before they go to the actual life. So this is make everything easier, because like they already absorb this principle in part of their education to get ready to the life kind of challenges and so on. So definitely like this will be easier, even whenever it came from scratch, bottom to up or up. So I don't know if you agree with me. Like I would like to see Agile like to be one day. It's not only about like it's a solution. No, it's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. It's a principle.
It's interesting you say that, because, and I'm gonna show how old I am here, but when I did a degree in the UK, it was marketing and business, and we did accounting and finance and blah, 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 right? You know, it didn't really speak to the human aspects of working within a corporate environment and working within a team. Because I think back then it was very hierarchical and it was very traditional. And I've seen the evolution of how we work now. And the future of work for me is that you're talking about business agility. So Agile, you know, is a collection of tools and frameworks that we traditionally used to build software. But if you build in the principles of agility across your entire organization, how you hire people, how you retain your talent, how you utilize procurement, how you go through legal processes, everything. And basically you put people and a human-centric approach at the heart of how you operate a business. If that's ingrained from a training level at any business administration or business management training, that's the future, I think. And that's the way it becomes a very different way of operating. And it's coming. I definitely see that with the new generation, the way that they want to work and how they work more effectively together. And sometimes, to be honest, the shock to the system they get when they get into a very traditional command and control working environment. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add one point here. Like, have you heard about Tukman ladder, Tukman team development phases? So every team is going through some certain phases, and whenever new team members join or some team member exit, again that phase again restart. So even your team is new or old, they again need to go with different phases. So again, you need to train your team. Again, you need to emphasize on agile aspect. So it doesn't matter, like as per my experience, as it doesn't matter whether your team is old or new, you have to again go through with those phases. Yeah, according to Techman. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'll give just one quick real life example. So when we started this transformation, only the digital team was working on this transformation, right? And even they were sitting separately. They were not sitting with the product and the business teams. So they were in the head office. We were given another office, and we were working in silo and only focused on like churning out very quickly the website, the application, all the elements of it. And then for almost 1.5 years we just did that. Okay, now the business teams were giving us requirements. They got the application digital, like we were doing all of manual work to digitize. Basically that was the initial plan. We did that. Now there were enhancements, etc. Now a lot of coordination between the business teams and these digital teams needs to happen. So what we thought that it's better we go there, sit with them, and then start towards it and involve them in a day-to-day basis. It is such a hard task. It's such a hard task, I tell you, because they were not very. First of all, they were acting like they don't understand these 2 week sprints. They are giving requirements, then you should be able to implement this like in 3 days. But we used to tell them, no, it doesn't work like this, so the lot of talks and coaching and everything happens. And then fine, we reached to a stage another year that they have started, like we combined and then we doing it. But there were other departments in the company, the compliance, the legal, like she said, right? The technology, cloud, DevOps, and then there were so many other legacy systems which were there in the bank, which was in some other country, and it's just nightmare to even now. Like after 5 years of transformation, even now it is pain because these teams are like doesn't have that kind of agile mindset. They are working in according to our sprints. We are giving them requirement. They're giving us what we want from on that legacy system. They're implementing that. Still, the mindset is missing, and all the teams are keep cribbing about that side of people. But we are thinking about solving those things, but they still exist, frankly. So it does takes a lot of time.
Do you think because we are in the transformation area, like between generations, between era, technology, now, how is it? That's why we are suffering this time. Because it's out of their comfort zone. Number one, like I'm happy like this. Why I need to change? Everything working fine. It's not comparing to other departments, sustainable. It's working now, but after 5 years, no, it's not gonna work like that. So
yeah, one of the reason is yes. That is one of the reason. And second is they don't like, it's too much work.
yes.
Too much time going there. They don't really bother about your processes and tools and mindset. They're just focusing on the output. You have given us requirement, we'll give you the thing. Don't please ask us to follow this and follow that, etc. They don't even bother about it. So that is also one of the issues we have seen, right? That they just that is one of the issues.
Why, in a way, like we need to start like agile, like at early stage.
Yes.
It's too late after the technology. That's work.
Yeah.
And even from ecosystem perspective, I'd love to see, I know that I'm adding in, but it's an interesting conversation. I'd love to see from startup perspective how Agile has been treated in the startup world, the small companies that are being born as we speak. Is the mindset there? Well, okay, startup traditionally they are fast, they put things quickly, but what about the people centricity, transparency, trust, other values that are part of? As important as in the university ecosystem, the economic and the organizational ecosystem we should discuss this as well. I don't know, just a thought. Any final comments that you want to add?
Yeah, just one last comment that whenever we hire people, okay, the HR plays a big role here. Whenever we hire people, we should not only look at the craft or the skill of the person, but we should also look at the aptitude and attitude for that culture fitment of that organization. So a lot of people are coming from different organizations, right? And there might be culture absolutely different. So you have to at least make them aware and see that are they fitting in your culture. And we don't do that sometimes, right? And then when they
Has
join,
the right hard skills done.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, you know how to do this project done.
Yeah. So, and I've seen people leaving right after joining because they see, oh, this is like such an aggressive environment. I can't work like that in this, or some other, the information they get, and then they feel like not fit. So, I mean, interviews even from other departments when we're taking people and we creating the change agent, you have to take the interviews in such a way. Yeah.
30 seconds.
No,
Anything
I'm
else to
fine.
add?
Just thank you so much for engagement and
Yeah.
questions.
Thank you
Really
so much.
appreciate it. I know it's a
Questions.
long one.
Yeah, thank you
And
everyone.
it's the end of the day.
Thank
I
you
will
everyone.
just give the panelists a small gift on behalf
Oh, okay.
of Agile Middle East team. Thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your experience and wisdom. And I will do the lucky draw, right?
Oh, yes.
I promise, whoever joins
you.
our session, thank you so much. Well, the lucky draw, we have 4 people. How we are going to do that?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Yeah.
Okay, I will give
bouquet
to know if